Okay, we are on YouTube,
All
so
set? All right.
you're all set.
Well, welcome everybody. It is 12:01, so I'll call this meeting of the Whatcom County Fire Protection District Board of Commissioners to order. And we'll continue with roll call. I'm Steve Cooley, Commissioner.
Tim Johnson, Commissioner.
Mark Land, Commissioner.
Jason Vanderveen, Fire Chief.
Okay, great. Moving on to the public comment. Chief, do we have anybody in the wing waiting for a public comment?
No, sir.
Nobody waiting. Okay, so I will open and then close the public comment period. Moving on to the approval of the consent agenda. All matters within the consent agenda have been distributed to each member of the Board of Commissioners for review, are considered routine, and will be enacted by one motion of the board with no separate discussion. If a separate discussion is desired, that item may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda by request. And those items on the consent agenda include the meeting minutes from our January 16th meeting, in which we elected Tim Johnson as the vice chair in his absence. So prior approval, however.
Yes.
We have staff reports provided by the chief and his staff, financial reports, voucher and payroll and benefits, which shows that we had a direct deposit payroll of $322 and monthly expenditure voucher of $10,671.23. And I don't need a separate discussion, but Chief, I saw that there's just basically that one item. It was reimbursement for grate floors. I was just curious, do you know what that?
Yes, it's the.
Go ahead.
It's flooring. It's flooring at Station 12.
Gotcha.
And yeah, it was. So District 21 paid for it, but just based on the contract, it says anything kind of outside of normal maintenance, big items like that are paid for by the individual districts. So.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Our total revenue for December was $81,599.02. And again, the total expenditures, including what the chief just mentioned and our direct deposit payroll, was $10,993.23. Okay, given that, I will entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
I would move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on any of those items? Seeing no requests for discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda as provided, say aye.
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 Motion carries 3-0. The consent agenda is approved. All right, moving on to unfinished business. First item on that list is our levy lid lift additional funding update, and there's a worksheet in our packet at the end of our packet that has been included, and I've asked the chief to briefly summarize what that's telling us.
Let me get to that.
Yeah, no problem. And this is for the fire, the new levy lid lift. Basically, the EMS worksheet will be provided next month. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Let me share my screen here.
Okay.
Okay. So everyone can see. This is the levy worksheet, essentially, that we use with the county to not set the levy rate, but to calculate how much tax revenue is going to be paid to the district. We submit one, you remember, we submit one in November of every year. That is based on projections. This is the final one that comes from the county that shows the increased levy rate, and how they draw out their, you can see their how many decimal points they run things out to. I run them out to 2, and they run them out to about 10. So it's a little bit different calculation. And really the important piece of this is you can see here where my cursor is, the assessed valuation of the district. So 3,133,153,903 is this year's assessed valuation. Underneath there's the statutory maximum calculation, and you can see here they put new lid lift because we brought it to their attention that we were, calculating the new lid lift in. And here we can see the rate of 99 cents, which is what the voters approved. And so this $3,101,822.36 is the amount of tax revenue that will come to the district in 2024 for the fire levy. This, like Commissioner Cooley said, this is irrespective of the EMS levy. Excuse me. At the bottom here, the other piece I would point out is here is when they check their work here in box O. And here you can see the amount of tax revenue divided by the assessed valuation times 1,000. And when they run it out, it comes out to based on their calculations, it comes out to 9899999. Right, it goes out and then it's like 8733. That is still a 99-cent levy rate according to the county, even though it shows when they run it out that many decimal points, it does show as 98. But it is accepted in municipal finance that even though they run out that many decimal points, that it comes up as 99 cents because you round it from the third place. So it's 989, so it's 99 cents. So that is welcome to municipal finance and worksheets that the county crank out. So
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate that summary. Any questions or discussions on that worksheet, gentlemen?
I do have
Go ahead, Tim.
a question, I guess. So in December, when we approved our 2024 budget, I think those are probably projections at that time.
correct.
Right, Chief? But I know that was a much higher number approved than what's in this worksheet. So
That
you
and
foresee that as being an issue for us?
remember that we're missing the EMS levy, which is an additional $420,000.
Right. Yeah, I was just looking at the line item for the fire
Okay.
that we had in our budget, which
What's that
was
difference, Tim, since you
about
have?
3.7 million.
Okay.
That number in our budget was 3,748,171, so 3.7 million roughly.
And you know what? I didn't even think, I apologize. I didn't even think to go back and compare those two sheets. Was that off the levy rate sheet or was that off total revenue expected?
This was just the budget that the spreadsheet that we had our budget with the expenses and revenues on it. And I think it's
let me
to
pull
approve
that
this.
up real quick. Okay, yep, I see that. Yeah, that is significantly different, and I will have to go back and, you know what, I apologize, Commissioner Johnson. I didn't even think to compare those two. That's a great question. Let me go back and look at my levy worksheet and see where I made that. Obviously, I made the error in calculation somewhere. So let me double check my work and see what I did. And yeah, that's definitely a difference.
Yeah, perhaps we could put that on the agenda for our next meeting to just
Yep.
discuss how that resolves and why there's that difference.
Well, and I'll give you, let me do that research and then I will give you I'll send out an email to you in the meantime, just so you know,
Right.
A, that I'm working on it, and
Okay.
B, what I find initially.
Yeah, I mean, I think good news is we're more than covering our expenses, but I
Right.
know we had talked about having some funding for some of our capital project priorities. So that's where maybe maybe it's a lesser number now.
Yes. Yeah, it still would provide enough revenue to at least make the apparatus purchase this year and work on, and get set for get set up for the building project, or flip flop those, whichever. Let me talk to the mechanic. Maybe we'll figure out. Honestly, ordering the apparatus is going to be of a higher priority just because the lead time it takes on something like that. But let me, those are great questions. I'm sorry I didn't think to compare those before.
No
No
worries.
worries.
Nor did I. So I think that's an important thing. We can, like you said, you can work on that between now and then, and
Yeah.
certainly discuss that during our next meeting. Go ahead, Tim. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you did not, Steve. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, you bet. All right. Well, along the same lines, any other questions about the worksheet there? Okay, I met with the chief last week briefly, and as we talked about in our last meeting, we want to make sure we're clearly communicating to the taxpayers where this additional funding that they have authorized us is going to go. And the money actually doesn't flow until there's 2 times that the money flows into our accounts, and the chief educated me that's April and October, you said, Chief, was that right?
Yes.
Yeah, so we still have a couple of months before any of that new money will flow into our accounts anyway, but we've both agreed that we're going to be vigilant about how we communicate that so that it's easy to see for anyone who glances at our paperwork where that money's going, where it sits until we spend it. And then, of course, with this new piece, we'll figure out the difference in that and the estimated amount that we had from the end of last year. So we still got some time because, again, the bulk of that money doesn't, none of really that money flows until April for the first time. Okay. Thought there's something else I wanted to say on that, but I think that's all for now. And then again, next month, Chief will also have the EMS worksheet, hopefully as well, right? Okay.
Yes.
Great. Okay. Anything else on that subject before we move on? Okay. Nothing else. So we'll move on to the next item on the agenda is the fire engine purchase update, and we can lump the chief and I sort of discussed this when we met, that and the station repairs sort of in one lump item. But go ahead, Chief. Do you have any updates on our fire engine purchase?
Yes. So as Commissioner Cooley and I met and discussed both the levy lid lift additional funding update, as well as the fire engine purchase and the public works that need to be done at Station 12, mainly the siding project. And in getting ready for that, one thing I noticed is that District 4 doesn't have many policies, or the ones that they do have are extremely outdated, such as a purchasing policy. That has to be done before we make a large purchase like this, or any kind of purchases like that. We need to have a purchasing policy. So the state of Washington is in July is revamping some limits that fire districts can use, and also updating bidding law. And so District 21 is updating its financial policy to better reflect those coming changes. And so I have sent the draft financial policy for District 21 to Eric Quinn, District 4's attorney, to get him to take a look at that and see if he has any recommendations. What I'd like to do is align the 2 purchasing policies so that staff here only has to work within one, and refer to one as we go out to bid and do things like purchase an engine or big facilities projects. But I gave Commissioner Cooley a copy of the current policy. It's about 1/3 of a page, 2/3 of a page, and it basically says that anything over $10,000 has to be bid in a very old school way. And so Mr. Quinn is looking at those, and I hope to hear from him soon and to have those present to you in March for approval in April. So a policy that size will need to go for a 30-day review by the board, and have you guys be able to go through it, ask questions, those kind of things. It's not something that would be dropped on you and then ask for immediate approval. So, and then also asking him about any other policies that would, I'm not aware of any, but it could be that he has a strong feelings about any other policies that might need to be in place before we do something big like that. So that's where we are with the engine purchase. As far as the nuts and bolts of the engine purchase, it's just going to be similar to what what North Whatcom or what District 21 bids and builds its other engines, which is similar to the way Bellingham builds its engines. I'll coordinate with Chief Dave Parker at Bellingham and make sure that that he they won't approve it, but they know what we're building in case District 4 ends up with Bellingham, and that way it's something that's compatible with what they've got. But it's roughly most of the engines here in the county are very similar. And so, but I still want to get there kind of a nod of approval, not approval, but a nod of recognition that what we're building is if it did become a Bellingham engine, it would be acceptable to them as something they can work with. So that is the fire engine purchase update, as well as that same kind of thing. Needing that purchasing policy goes for really that large public work at Station 12 there.
And Chief, would you mention that, I know we discussed this, but the nuts and bolts of how the heavy lifting on what actually we're going to order gets done is done by your standing committee. I just want to be sure.
Correct.
The chair, the other commissioners are aware of how that happens with the fire engine anyway.
Yes, with the fire engine, the way that we do it is we have an apparatus spec committee that's made up of a lieutenant or two and some firefighters and our mechanic, and they are really, I'll call them subject matter experts on ergonomically, where equipment, where holes for equipment need to be, engine size, transmission size, brake size, all those things. The mechanic does his thing with the chassis. The firefighters and the lieutenants, and company officers do their thing with the toolbox part of it, and that's how we do it. It's for those that are operating it. It's their toolbox, and I want to make sure it works well for them. So.
And I just wanted him to mention that because that contrasts with the other project that we're looking at, of course, and that's the station siding improvements. That one doesn't fall under, correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, doesn't fall under any kind of a standing committee. So we'll be discussing here over the next couple of months about how the heavy lifting on that's going to be done. As you know, Chief Ward had been, if you recall, last year had been going out and talking to some companies to get some estimates on how much that might cost. So in Chief Ward's absence, we're going to have to figure out how to pick up the slack and who's going to basically carry the ball on that project. The chief and I have agreed to share some of the workload on that. But more to come on that. So again, there's not a standing committee that will spec that out or anything like they would a fire engine. This is a project we'll have to figure out who the lead is and who's going to kind of run with the details on that project. Make sense? Did I say anything wrong there, Chief?
No, sir.
Okay. Discussion, questions, gentlemen, on the fire engine and the station project? Okay. Fortunately, as we've discussed, we have plenty of time till the money starts to flow to get our policies in order, to make sure we know how much money we're going to have to spend on the two projects. So I think we're still well ahead of the game. Go ahead, Tim.
Just, do we still think the lead time on the new engine is way out there once we order, couple years type lead time?
I think it'll be 20 to 24 months.
Yeah. And
It's gonna take a while.
and that's from probably the point where we first start giving them money, which won't be until, do we anticipate starting giving someone money this year to get that engine going?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, it needs to be ordered this year. We need to get it, in the queue.
Right. Okay. Good. Any other
That
questions?
the engine that's currently assigned to Station 12 is undergoing a major overhaul right now, just because of its age and kind of some deferred maintenance. So, yeah, we need to. That's hot on the list to get. That is the next engine to be replaced.
Okay. Well, once we resolve the discrepancy that we found between what we estimated we're going to be getting from the levy and what the worksheet was telling us, hopefully we'll be able to move both projects forward.
I think we will
Okay.
be able to move. Yeah.
Okay. But we'll get the specific numbers on that and make sure we nail that down. So, okay. Any other questions or discussion on that issue? All right. Moving on to the last one. Included in your packet, in our packet today, was the draft resolution that I guess some of the commissioners and or chiefs association drafted. I believe some districts have signed on to this declaration of protest. So I wanted to have a discussion, as we talked about during our January meeting, whether or not we wanted to jump on the bandwagon here and add our signatures to this. I have my own thoughts on that, but I would certainly defer to the other two gentlemen if you guys want to go first. Otherwise, I'll express mine. Mark, do you have any thoughts on where we stand?
Yeah,
Not to put you on the
but I
spot.
want to hear yours first.
Okay, I'd be happy to. I just didn't want to jump the gun. I feel at this point, did you all see the article that came out in the Cascade Daily News? Tim, were you able to see that?
I did not see that.
Okay,
No.
we'll make sure you get a copy. It probably came out, while you were gone. Or my feeling at this point, quite frankly, is that I think the county council is well aware of how they approach this and the fact that it didn't please a lot of people in the fire services community. That article, I thought, did a good job of summarizing the issues and the fact that we are all still, and at least from where I sit, we all remain open to working with the county on this study, as long as it's done in an open and transparent manner. So at this point, I think, given the fact that that article came out and that we, including and that Commissioner Land, among others, expressed their concern before that resolution was passed, I don't see a need to add our signatures to this at this point. Again, I want to make sure that we have expressed our concerns about how the county has approached this so far, and I think that's been communicated. But at the same time, I don't want to burn any bridges or I want to maintain the spirit of cooperation. So that's kind of where I stand on it, but I'm happy to hear your thoughts on it as well. And just for your background, I don't believe District 21 is going to add their signatures to it. Is that correct, Chief? So not all districts are signing it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's on their agenda, but I'm not comfortable speaking to whether they're going to support it or not. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I thought that had already happened, but yeah, so that's my feeling on it.
Yeah. I was pretty, well, I don't want to say fired up when this was first in front of the council. But I think the emotions were a lot more raw at that time. And if there's been a bit of, dialing back from the county's perspective, kind of like you're expressing, I kind of feel like moving forward, cooler heads prevail in the spirit of cooperation. I think I don't feel like adding fuel to the fire, or that it would necessarily have the intended effect that it would have had maybe a couple of months ago.
Right. Yeah, and the draft resolution, that the declaration of protest calls for the withdrawal or the recession. I don't know what the proper word is, for the county to withdraw their resolution, basically. as they quoted me, I'm not sure they quoted me in the article on this point, but if the county wants to take a leadership role in this issue, again, as long as they do it in an open and transparent manner, I don't necessarily have a problem with that. But I believe there'll be plenty of time moving forward to express our concerns if the county does not reach out and include us in this process. So.
Yeah, and the other piece here is, I mean, I think it's important to, you know, be unified and have one voice. And, you know, if that's what Steve, you know, is feeling is kind of as the tip of the spear, you know, I wanna be unified. So I definitely, you know, would agree with, kind of your position on it as well.
Yeah, I certainly identify with the spirit of the declaration of protest, as I think, again, was covered by you on the day that the resolution was passed. And again, also, I think was pretty accurately represented in that article. I think the reporter did a good job of expressing the frustration that created. So I think the council has gotten the message. You know, whether they heed it, that's up to them. But I believe they're clear on how we feel. So, Tim, any comments or questions on that?
Oh, I mean, I haven't had the benefit of reading the article, so I'm kind of missing that flavor, I believe. I do understand what both of you are saying in terms of, you know, points were made, and directionally, maybe a study's not a bad idea. It still doesn't sit very well with me the way the county council went about it. And I don't know whether or not you, outside of this testimony that was done at the council meetings, and I believe that was all. Have we actually provided any written? Are we on the record, the written record that we opposed that original ordinance or resolution that the council put out there? Because to me, that is something that could be important, is that we're on the written record that we didn't agree with the way that was done. And I agree. I'm all for collaboration and working with the county, but we have no guarantees they'll take us up on that. So I don't believe it's a bad thing to be on record as being opposed to what the county did.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm trying to think. I mean, I remember when I testified, you know, the other districts basically sort of said that I could speak, you know, on everybody's behalf, representing all the districts. And I know there was a script basically that everybody kind of agreed to the language. And I just can't remember if that was actually put forward as part of the written record, or if there would be, you know, a recording of my statement. I'm just not, I don't know what they kept, what they considered, you know, written input.
I know of no other written. District 4 certainly is not on the record in a written manner opposing or objecting to the way that they went about this, other than Mark's testimony that day.
I guess one other question I would have is, who actually wrote this resolution that we're looking at here? Does anybody know, to come from one of the other districts, I assume?
It came from the East County Fire Commissioners Group, I believe. So that would be like District 16, District 14, possibly Fire District 1. That's the group that originally wrote it.
Yeah, I certainly am not opposed to going on record you know, if we feel that that's necessary at some point, either now or in the future, you know, objecting to the way they went about it. Again, the flavor of what was written to me, calling for the complete removal or rescission of the resolution the county passed. You know, again, I'm not quite convinced we need to go that far at this point. I think personally, it might be a good idea to, again, I think we've gotten the point across to the county council. Now kind of the ball is in their court to extend the hand of cooperation and to see if they truly are going to make this transparent. I think there would be still time to object if things don't, if the spirit of the way they're approaching this doesn't change. So where does that leave us? We certainly don't have to take action on this today. Tim, if you want to take a look at that newspaper article, I think that's an important piece of this. Because it, again, I believe it struck a good balance between, hey, you know, the way the county's going about this really struck us wrong. However, we remain open to that type of process as long as it moves ahead in a transparent manner and involves us, obviously. So,
Well, I guess I would say if unless my fellow commissioners feel like we need to take some action today, I would like to be able to look at that article. Maybe that change my perspective a little bit on this.
sure. Well, let's keep it on the agenda then as unfinished business. That would be my proposal. Let's keep it on our agenda for the March meeting as unfinished business. And between now and then, we can all continue to monitor and see where this issue evolves. And then we can discuss it some more in March.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. Mark, does that sit well with you? Okay, got a thumbs up. Okay, well, it's unfortunate because it's a difficult issue. We want to remain cooperative and be open to any improvements, certainly that could be gained from such a study. But hopefully the county will somehow make up for the misstep, I believe, that they made when they kicked this effort off. So, all right. That ends that discussion of that item. Any new business that we need to discuss? Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I know, Chief, you can't speak for the other board, but I was curious if you think there'd be any kind of information that is shareable on how they're progressing through their levy lid lift process.
Yeah, we've started, we're in the starting the outreach process. We've put a couple articles in local papers, you know, kind of stirring up some interest. We've gotten, I will be at the end of this month, I'm going to be going with two of the commissioners to meet with the Semiahmoo Homeowners Association, as well as some of the neighborhood associations out there at Semiahmoo. So we're starting to go out and discussing the need for the levy lid lift. At the meeting this week, so Thursday, I'm going to be presenting a recommended levy rate to the board, and then they'll have their public hearing. I believe we'll probably have it late February, early March, and then they'll set the levy rate after that. So yeah, kind of moving on the same timeline that you did this time last year.
Yeah, great. Thanks for sharing that. And then, so we have that group on retainer, if I remember right. Have they done any work for us this past month or anything, you know, for District 4, I guess, in the since the last time we met?
Yeah, I talked with them about some of the outreach stuff and social media things. We've kind of been going over, does District 4 need its own social media, or does that confuse things? And as we've rolled a few things out on District 21 social media, but we don't want to confuse the voters by putting things for District 4 out on District 21. And so, one of the things that Commissioner Cooley and I talked about this last week was drafting an actual letter, and we did put funding for that in the budget. So similar to like during the levy outreach, we sent a letter to each home letting people know about the importance of it. Commissioner Cooley and I talked about, and I've talked with Liz and AJ about writing a letter that would be sent to each home or each mailbox in District 4 regarding, hey, here's where we're at with the levy. This is what projects we're working on. This is the timeline kind of thing. So that kind of thing. So yes, we do work with them.
Okay,
And
great.
yep, I know we're paying them. And so yes, we're working with them.
Yeah, we had discussed sending out such a mailer maybe once or twice this year, depending on how things progress with our projects. But certainly waiting to send the first one until we have concrete ideas on what we're doing with the money and where it's going, and so that we can actually give our taxpayers some information on what we're doing with the money that they've so graciously given us. So yeah, that Liz's group will hopefully help us with that. Well,
Great, thank you.
any other new business?
No.
Okay, great. I didn't see any correspondence in the packet. Our next board meeting is on March 18th. Any items that you all know of now, other than what we already discussed? We will keep the county council's resolution issue on our unfinished business list. Any other items for the next meeting that you know of now?
The levy rate question
Right. Yes, that's right.
for
Thank
me
you.
to clarify.
Yep, for sure. And the EMS, and that includes
Yep,
the
EMS
levy as well.
levy. Yep.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's all I can think of today. And obviously you can send requests for agenda items into the chief or Jenny or both if you get something in the meantime. All right. Anything else for the good of the order? All
Thank
right.
you.
And
No.
everybody remember to go down and sign documents whenever you're able. And it is now 12:39 and I'll call the meeting adjourned. Thank you. Good to see you all.
See ya.
Thank you.
If you guys could shoot me a text when you sign documents, I'd